because I really am going to go back because Marilyn really wants to bring some specific data. Okay, so that's the outcomes. But that's not the first fellow you need funded. The first fellow, I thought you needed 6 fellow funded. Right now the fellows are paid how?
Through GME dollars, which is graduate medical education dollars, and we're right now we have 4 fellows. We have 2 fellows for 2 years each, and those are all paid by the same as the residents are paid from GME dollars, graduate medical education dollars.
And okay, so but you said you wanted to bring another one on, a 5th. Okay, I thought it was.
So Leon gave us a 5th.
To
be able to go to our 015, he gave it out of the general surgical thing.
Why?
Well, he's not going to lose anything. What he's going to, because in the past he was using that salary line for just an unmatched intern. So these are guys who couldn't match in something hard.
Okay.
So they're like unemployable. And by giving us that salary line, we're going to be able to hire another guy, and they have to do their first couple of years in general surgery anyway. So Leon gets use of that guy.
So basically, it's like he had the money, and he's just going to let you.
He's trading up. He's going to go from a guy that couldn't get a job into a guy that got a really competitive job.
I gotcha.
And it's going to be doing general surgery. So it was a winner for him.
Okay, so that one's paid for through the Department of Surgery.
Yep.
To specialize.
Right.
And then what about? So tell me about the 6th one that you want.
So the 5, or it's a 5-year program. So it's going to be 1 each year for 5 years running.
Okay.
That accounts for 5.
Mm-hmm.
We also, Tony trained, and he trained all of us to do a 2-year fellowship after we finish general surgery.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to be able to train one person at all times for the so-called 5 and 2. In other words, the old-fashioned way of training, where you do all your general surgery and then you do your vascular.
7 years.
7 years, yeah. And we think that it's a different type of fellow because we've all trained in colon and pancreas and all that stuff, and so we feel like a much more complete surgeon. It also opens up a different job market for us. So
you were a fellow for 7 years?
Yeah, it was 5 and 2. 5 and 2. Yeah.
So that's what you want, to at least have one more, bring one back.
Right. And the issue is
this is actually good.
Yeah.
To bring one back to give what he gave to you guys, because
Exactly.
you feel like people are missing that.
That's right. And so there were 2 reasons why. So then the next question is, why do we want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And so the answer to that is 2 reasons. One is there's a lot of general surgeons who don't realize they want to be vascular surgeons until they get halfway through their training, like Tony, like all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We all started out as general surgeons, as did Tony. And that all of a sudden they realize, hey, I want to be a vascular surgeon. And if there's no more training programs to do it, they're stuck. They got to go back and do a 0 and 5 after they've already done their general surgery.
I see.
And the second reason is, from a fellow's point of view, there are some guys that choose that from the beginning, even though they have an opportunity to do 0 and 5. So I'm getting a guy here in July who wants to be a vascular surgeon. He wants 5 and 2. And the reason is, once you leave a major urban area, you are the vascular surgeon, but you'll cover general at night.
Mm-hmm.
And so the groups won't hire you in Wisconsin and North Carolina unless you've got your general surgical training.
So he needs to have those.
You need to have those. Academically, we need to be able to produce that product. Otherwise, the country's going to suffer.
Yeah. So but why did it move from the standard of care? Because people just don't want to pay an extra, or they can't afford it.
Medicare won't come up with extra training lines, and it's been driven to 0 and 5 by the applicants. So all the really smartest guys are all saying, I'd rather do this in 5 years so I can.
Sure, so they can go out and make more money.
Right, and be done sooner. And they're all saying, and I'm smart enough, I can get the job. So so now we are, so we had to switch to 0 and 5, but we wanted to do both. Medicare says we're not increasing the number of GME dollars to come to NYU.
So Medicare pays for Medicare. So that was the question. Do we bill? Like, do fellows bill? But they don't bill, but they actually are paid for through Medicare pays for the GME dollars. That we couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
Fellows do not bill.
Right. So Medicare gives the institution, of course, Grossman claims he loses money on everything. So so they give us some underfunded amount of money for every resident, on the order of, it costs, these guys are making about $60,000 a year plus 30% benefits, so it's $80,000 to pay for a fellow, and according to, if you ask Grossman, Medicare gives us 70 or something like that, so they lose money on every fellow, because the question is, well, first of all, Medicare won't increase their funding at all, but even if they would, the answer always comes back, but we lose money on every new one we add, so we don't even want to ask for it. Doesn't matter because they're not giving us any.
Okay.
So that's the 6th fellow. The 7th fellow was that research fellow.
Okay. This is really helpful. I think it's
It would have
actually,
taken me a year to type that, by the way.
no, I understand. And you wouldn't have, and that's why I felt like this was the best way, because I'm going to go back and I can actually like tell a story with it. And I
Right.
think this is also going to be useful as I do your development plan, because you need this. You're going to have to go back through, but we need to do your priorities. I do think that the staffing for this is the least attractive, because you're going to have to do it anyway. And they're going to say, why am I? Here's what Vertorto said to me
Right. Well,
through Beth.
it's like paying the electric
He
bill.
sent me the New York Times article and said, why is everybody at NYU getting the golden parachute? This is what he said to me. He goes, I want to know why
Right.
you're asking me for money and why Grossman lives in an apartment that's worth whatever. And I said, I can't speak to that. I can't speak to those things specifically.
Right.
This is a man that's going to be really
Yeah.
but we have to be really, at the end of the day, we cannot ask people to make gifts when this is going to be a standard of care.
Yep.
You want to get it up and running, maybe that's your
No, but
priority
that
now.
for that research fellow, that's a
But the
different thing.
research fellow
Right.
to really kind of to have
Dig
somebody
down.
dive in and get us to where we need to be
Right.
immediately. That's
Well, yeah,
That's
I mean,
different.
to improve healthcare for all Americans. Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
I just think that
Right.
this is to get staffing, and I
Right.
mean, you probably could get. He should be giving you the staffing now.
Well, hopefully, as of yesterday's conversation, he will once I manage to put this
I
together.
mean, look, that's to me the third. I think that the research fellows are really important, and I think
Yeah.
I think that this will be really useful.
This
Wait,
is-
you didn't.
My father cut this out of Cranes.
Is this New York? Is this?
Yeah, well, it's the New York, New
Oh, I
Jersey.
didn't. Oh. Well, the other thing is that the Time magazine didn't have him in there.
Yeah.
That's also been. Who's that?
Andy Litt. He was Grossman's number 2.
And what
before
happened?
He got a job. He got offered a job to be the chief medical officer for Dell Computers, who's the back end of Epic, and it was a conflict of interest.
That's interesting.
Presumably, it paid more than that. Otherwise, he might not have left.
I see. Okay. Well, in any event, look, we don't. I said we don't know, but the point is that I think that people are going to really start to question, with everything changing, why should we be giving you money when you're going to get reimbursed for these things anyway?
Right.
Vertorto is going
Right.
to be a challenge no matter how this happens, but he should deserve to look what he's responsible for.
Right.
He should make what a CEO makes.
Right.
We don't know the specifics of how it works out. That's how I responded. So I don't know.
But I agree with what you just said, which is how you going to recruit. If any of these guys go get a CEO position working for Pfizer or Aetna or any of those
Of course.
things, how are you going to recruit that talent here unless you offer to pay at least in the ballpark?
I don't think that he's going to have a problem with that. I think it was more so to see what Harold Koplowitz got, the buyout that Koplowitz got.
Right.
And who knows what that was. I think that somebody said that it was a lawsuit settlement. It was,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I thought it was a wrongful termination lawsuit.
that's what I think it
Yeah.
was. But but nobody's going to talk about that in the press.
Right.
This is
Right.
really
Yeah.
your deck.
Right?
All right, so those are great things. This is great. Marilyn's going to be very happy. I guess that's it. And so yeah, we're going to have this lunch with Retorto.
Good.
So it's happening.